This is ACOFAE. Laura Marie and Jessica Marie proudly present A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, a podcast. Fair warning, everything the hosts say is explicit, full of spoilers and adult content and shall not be used against them. They have opinions. Let's try not to drag anyone for expressing themselves and just have fun for an hour. We all deserve it.
This episode contains spoilers from Queen of Shadows and ACOSF, specifically with Nessian mentions. There is also discussion surrounding bullying and sexual assault.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to A Court of Fandoms and Exploration, your weekly deep dive into the YA literature and fandoms that we love. I'm Laura Marie.
And I'm Jessica Marie.
And today we are discussing the 90s classic, a beloved movie. This is 10 Things I Hate About You, and it is a retelling of Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare.
I had such a bad week at work, and can I tell you, the fact that I had this to look forward to watch and knew we were going to be recording an episode was absolutely the happiest I've been all week and what I got to look forward to. So I'm just smiling because this has been so fun. I think it took me a while to watch it, just because I kept pausing it and writing a note and pausing it and writing a note, but it didn't take away from the enjoyment of a rewatch.
I have to say, this probably won't surprise anybody. I've seen this movie 1,000 times.
So good.
It's so good. I have watched it as an adult several times. I'm very familiar with it. I can recite it. Jess, I know that you have not seen it in a while. So this was like a new fun rewatch for you.
Yeah. It was exactly how I remembered it, though.
Okay.
It didn't, were there some problematic things? Yes. True to 90s film, but we've learned from the things that were issues. We've grown from them. Some of the, name calling words that were used towards people, totally not okay. But Hollywood, you've learned. You've grown. Thank you, even if it was a smidge.
I did not realize. Okay, so I am old. I'm old. I did not realize that this movie was so incredibly formative for me, down to Kat's black platform sandals, everything is just so fantastic. I wanted this car. The
car was so good.
I wanted her house. I wanted to live. Where are they? Seattle. I wanted to be in Seattle. I wanted all of this.
Tacoma.
Okay, yeah. Just, oh my God. And the school, just unbelievable. And okay.
Did you know that the school used to be a hotel for a railroad station, and then it burned down, so it was just renovated, and it's an actual high school. It's Stadium High School. That is the high school when you... I want to say dreams are made of, but when you think of an American high school, a classic, for those teen movies, that's what you think about.
It's so gorgeous. I just love it so much. And a lot has been said about the 90s fashion here, but with some glaring exceptions, I still would rock a lot of this. I have no problems with it.
The red dress that Bianca wears, I know I had that in a red, mustard, and gray, because I wore the gray one year when I dressed up as Karen from Mean Girls, and I was like, I'm a mouse, and I wore the gray. I wore that dress in gray.
Oh, that was perfect. That was perfect. Oh my gosh.
I had to be work appropriate. So.
Well, of course. I wanted Kat's hair. I was desperate for her hair. I'm still desperate for her hair. But yeah, so this was very formative for me, and I just love it so much. So, let's kind of go through this, and let's start off with Allison Janney. I love her so much. The guidance counselor, Miss Parky, to know. So Jess and I did the research on this. Actually, Jess did a lot of research on this.
No, we both did, because you shared a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. Mine was I just typed in the title initially and I put BuzzFeed, and then a whole page of articles came up. You got the grit of it. I'm so excited.
Well, we find out through these articles, and we'll post them in the show notes as we do, but like, Allison got to like improvise a lot, and she got to be really silly, and she had a lot of fun on set. And like, of course, this came out like right before the West Wing, which is kind of funny. It's so just really good. And this came out in 99, by the way. And, she's just so funny.
I feel like when I was, because there's no way that in 99, there, like, you know, everything was very censored with me when I was growing up. So there's no way that I watched this when it was released, but I know I watched it as I, you know, through high school and as I got older. And it was just, there's no way that I remembered Allison Janney, like her character being who she was. Like I was like, oh, she's a bitch. And I was like, now watching it, I go, Book Talk, why have we not used the audio for this, or like in, you know, Bookstagram Reels? Because when she's writing her smut in the middle of the day,
it's so good. It's so good. Like, I like that. What's
that. Another word for like engorged and thwarted? And she said turgid, and I was like, it's our word.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And then, you know, Kat gets, I mean, we're like all over on this plot, but like my favorite interaction is like, you know, so she's telling Kat, she's like, some people like, you know, have a name for you. She's like, you know, what is it? And she's like, heinous bitch.
She's so proud of herself.
So like, her face, like,
she's like, you know, I love how self-aware Kat is, and not in you know, in a good way, because she knows that people think she knows what her outward perception is, but she knows who she is as a person. And I think that's just, it's just very relatable, you know, just being, you know what others might think about you. But when you're so, like I said, when you're so self-assured and know who you are, what other people say, it's not going to matter to you, because you know that that's not authentic.
Taking a step back, if we go to the opening credits of this movie, if we're talking about authentic, how about authentic 90s with those opening titles? Oh my God. I got such Empire Records vibes from the opening and from the closing on this too. We ended up on a rooftop, you know, with like wonderful music playing and a helicopter.
And that was, you know, the first thing when they did the pan out, I'm thinking, was this a sound stage? But you did the research and said this isn't a sound stage. So knowing that, you know, with my background in film now, I'm just thinking this must have been so expensive to shoot, the licensing that was needed, everything. And then you come to find out it was $500,000 for every time that the helicopter took liftoff. So they basically said, you need to do this in one shot and not fuck it up.
Yeah, that's letters to Cleo, you know, shout out to you, because like they say in interviews, like it was really scary and it was really windy. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I know that he has done a lot and that he's very like, well-known actor, but I will always call him Bernard from Elf. Yes. And I'm sorry about that. I love Numbers. Like, Numbers is my fucking jam. That show, yes. But, like, he's Bernard from Elf. But he's wonderful in this.
Gabrielle Union hasn't aged a day past 18.
No, she's gorgeous and she's perfect. And she's Chastity, and she's so, like, not used, really, in this. She's just, like, a bitchy, like, friend.
She's not used. There's such a lost opportunity with her, just as an actress in general in this film. But as a friend, do you even call her a friend? Because they're just, are they frenemies? Are they just kind of two people who have a fondness towards each other? Because when she knows that Bianca has a crush on Joey, and she goes, you know, I do have a curfew, and then and Chastity just swoops in like, your loss.
Yeah.
And he, like, what a shitty person he is, too. I mean, we already knew this.
I know this.
But I can't imagine still liking somebody after that. And then even at the prom, like, I feel like that was the moment where their friendship shifted.
Yeah.
And at least they didn't try to keep the film going as if they are friends.
Oh, yeah. No, you could tell. She was just like, bitch. Like,
right.
Yeah. She was done. She's done. Bianca, Miss Alex Mack, she has a real name, Larissa, right?
Larissa. I always called her O-Link, but then I actually looked phonetically at the spelling. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but it's like Olenek.
Olenek. Man, Alex Mack, my child, every time I see her, I'm a child.
Didn't you want to be Alex Mack?
Yeah, I wanted to be Alex Mack. Shit, I would be Alex Mack right now. Like, to this day, I will be a puddle on the floor, like, going, having adventures. Like, that was fun as hell. So every time I see her, I'm just like nostalgia. And then again, you know, it's like double. And then with Heath, it's like triple. Bianca's annoying to me as an adult, but she has such like quotable lines. Like the sketcher, like, oh my God, it's just so good.
The difference between like and love. Like, I love my sketcher. Like she likes her Skechers, but she loves her Prada backpack. But Chastity loves her Skechers, and she goes,
but you don't have a Prada backpack. It's so funny. And then she's like, you know, or Chastity's like, you know, I know you can be overwhelmed. I know you can be underwhelmed, but can you ever be whelmed? She's like, I think you can in Europe.
It's fair point.
So
because
funny.
if you know, not to sound any particular way, but I feel like, you know, when people say that English is such a hard language to grasp, and it is. And when you're thinking about things, when you're growing up and in your language classes, you're always told, like, even a prefix of over or under is to accentuate something. So if that maybe in elementary school, but that seems like a fair question. Like, if you know that, you know, then what is whelmed? You know, it's very philosophical.
It's like, please. I do want to mention that this is available on Disney, right? Disney Plus?
Yeah, Disney Plus, we streamed it on.
But it is edited. They did edit some of the cussing. And it's a sloppy edit. And it's right in the beginning. And it's Allison Jenny when she says it right in the very beginning. So that is unfortunate. But
oh, come on, Disney.
I know, come on, Disney. But the rest of it is there. You know, the rest of it is there. Okay. So who is in this movie? I know we're all over the place. Julia Stiles, Heath Ledger, Larissa, Gabrielle,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Oh my gosh. Andrew Keegan and Michael Krumholtz.
Krumholtz, yeah.
Yeah.
Then Susan Platt. She also plays Maureen in Center Stage.
Oh, yeah.
The girl who plays Mandela.
I knew she looked familiar. I couldn't place her. I kept thinking that, like, damn, she looks like Parker Posey.
She was 26 in this movie, and Gabrielle Union was 28.
Yeah. They're just beautiful. They're beautiful people. Beautiful people. Okay. So everybody, like, from this movie had, like, success. Like, this core group had success. And, like, if you read interviews and stuff, cause it's like the 20th anniversary, like, the cast was really close. And Julia started dating Joseph during this, but I also read somewhere that she started dating Keith too.
That's what I read. I read that Larissa started dating Joseph. And then Julia started dating Heath, but her and Heath broke up in January 2000. So, like, they basically dated at the tail end of this movie and while they were in post, or I guess like a little bit after, because this was released in 99.
And I read something that said from the director that the sonnet that Julia Stiles reads at the end, which she did in one take, by the way, that she was crying and she didn't, like, understand why she was crying. It was just like this emotion that kind of took over. And the director was saying that, like, they're very surprised. Everyone's very surprised. And because she was, like, looking at Heath, but reading this poem about somebody else that she was, like, deeply in love with, that was waiting in a trailer to shoot a scene, like, in another room. So it's like, wait, well, that doesn't really line up with the other stuff that we're hearing. So I don't really know what happened. It sounds messy. It sounds fun.
Oh, man. I mean,
flies, walls.
Also, though, like, I feel like sometimes you see online where people think, like, how do you have these lines and exchanges with the people that you're working with? And even though you're not, you know, you're in character and that's part of the job, how do you not fall for, you know,
Heath Ledger? Oh my God.
Like, if he's, like, kissing on my neck and saying all these nice things, Yeah,
Done.
I probably.
Well, and Julia said that Heath is I'm going to struggle with that, the best kisser in Hollywood. Like, he was like, and she said that, like, recently. Yeah,
of
like,
course.
of course he is. Of course he is, as Heath Ledger. I'm sure he's the best at, like, everything. He's wonderful. Like, damn. Okay, so it's Patrick Verona and Bianca and Kat Stratford. So we have lots of Shakespeare in here. Mm-hmm. So I like we have our teacher, our teacher that kind of puts Kat in her place. Puts Joey in her place. His place puts everybody in and puts the Rastas in their place. I love him so much. Every time he's on screen, you're just like yes to everything he says.
And like it's interesting because I think we're maybe 10 minutes in the film and they're having their English class. Kat is going, I'm all here for her going for, against the patriarchy, stand up for feminism. But there was an article, and again, show notes, from on Shondaland.com where they praised the teacher and they praised the movie in a way that said, and I'll just like read directly what was written. In an early scene, Kat's English teacher calls her out on her white feminism, explaining in front of the class that her outcry to read more female authors should also be echoed by a call for more books written by POC. 10 Things was willing to criticize its heroine for a lack of intersectionality in her thinking, which again, and the article continues, this is in 99 and you're still seeing it today, 22 years later after this film was released. And I think it's great that she is the protagonist and they're still calling her out.
Yeah, it's so good. And like calling her out, but like, not pulling any punches because Joey gets it too. One day you're going to get bitch slapped and I'm not going to do anything to stop it. Like, don't get me started on you two. Like, he's had enough.
Yeah.
Like, he's had enough and we love that. We love that. Oh my gosh. Joey, Andrew Keegan. Whoa, buddy.
Where are we going to do? We start with Andrew Keegan or do we start? We'll just start with Joey.
Yeah, we'll start with Joey. Joey Eve Me Donner. I love it. Here's my first like creepy moment of the movie where they're like, virgin alert, it's your favorite. Like, ew, Joey. But here's the thing about Joey. I love his like horribly fitting 90s like outfits, like all his like suits and stuff. And I love how stupid he is with like his poses and everything. He's such a good, I don't even want to say villain. Like, he's just like a good character in this movie because like
he is the 90s Chad.
Yeah, like
that is what he is. Like, how about when they're at the fight and at the party and someone goes fight and he's like,
oh, fight. It's like, his face when he does it too. You're just like,
man. It's just such
I know so many of you. Like,
so many. It was cringy. It was so cringy.
So something that I like is I do like that Kat, when she goes to the guidance counselor, Miss Parkey, says that she maintains that he kicked himself in the balls. We love that. That's just a little aside that I like. But I like that this starts off like a typical, like, I'll bet you for it. I'll bet that like you can get her, like, whatever. He's like, no, I'll do this for fun. Like, this isn't a bet. But then it turns into like he's paying somebody else, so because She's All That came out right around this time too.
99, I think.
Yeah. So like the premise could have been like really similar, but it's so different. And there's such different movies. Right. It's just really interesting. Ew. I have to say that baby Joseph baby Joseph Gordon-Levitt is adorable. Did you watch Third Rock from the Sun?
It was not regularly. Like, I knew of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think like my stepmom and my biological dad did, but I don't think I was attuned to it enough. Like, I know it was about aliens. They come to Earth. They try to like matriculate into Earth society. And they sat on the roof a lot.
Yeah.
those are kind of what I remember.
And Larissa played his love interest, which is like interesting. Yeah, it was a little fun fact too. But I love him. I love him. And one of my like favorite things is like when The Dark Knight came out and everyone was like, that moment you find out that the Joker and Robin went to high school together, and then you see the like stills from 10 Things. It's just fantastic. It's so good. So Cameron is his character, and Cameron James, which is a play on James Cameron, which was just like, I had
Titanic came out a couple years prior to this.
Yeah, I had no idea though. I was just like, oh, Cameron James, like whatever.
I didn't know that was the reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whatever, like, okay. But he says a line like directly from Taming of the Shrew. What is it? It's like, I burn, I pine,
I perish.
Yeah, that's like directly, and it's so funny. And one of the articles said that like, the movie takes itself seriously, but it's also very, like, as you said, self-aware. So, like, that line could come off like cheesy, like Mamma Mia type cheese, but it doesn't. It just comes off as like, just some like stupid boy seeing a girl that he likes, just like saying the first thing that comes to him. It's just, I just love it. I just love it. And then we get the first, like mention of the shrew when they're talking about like, the cliques and Bianca and her sister and all of that.
But you know what I don't like in that discussion? Because Joseph's character, come on, now I keep going to say James, thinking James Cameron. Cameron, he's just like, pining over her. And Michael has like this whole dialogue and basically saying like, girls like her makes guys like us realize we can never touch her. And they're basically discussing Bianca as an object. And I hate I just hate that whole interaction. I know that's part of the reason why we find this movie so fascinating, even as adults and even as a society, is like just the portrayal of women, but the feminist dialogue and that comes out of it and the conversation that we love about this movie.
I'm just so excited.
I'm smiling the whole time.
So we get another really fantastic quote kind of after everything happens at school, and we get, hello, what is it? Catherine?
Katerina.
Hello, Katerina. Have you made anybody cry today? Sadly, no, but it's only 4:30. So fantastic. She's reading the bell jar. That's Sylvia a little... Plath. And Julia is actually in real life trying to get that adapted. So that's just like kind of funny. I have a confession, and my confession is that even though it's Taming of the Shrew and they have to do it this way, I love the dad. I don't like this dating stuff. And I know that the dating rules are the plot. Like, I understand this. But I don't like setting the sisters kind of like against each other on this.
The dad doing that.
Yeah, the dad doing that. Yeah. Like, I don't like that. But the dad as a character, I adore him. He's so funny.
I'm not a single parent. I'm not a parent at all. Nor am I a father. I can only imagine what a father of two girls, two young women is going through, especially as he is an OB seeing young mothers. And I don't like the slut shaming that comes with teen parenting in this movie. But I feel like that it's kind of like ruling with fear. I grew up down south, so we had health at the very basic level, and then we didn't have like sex ed, if anything. Like we did like a abstinence program, and we had to sign things in middle school, and then I had to sign it in front of my parents, and it was so awkward. And I just remember a traumatizing conversation where they were like, and if you do kiss a boy, you can never do it laying down because then it could lead to more. Like, I'm 12
oh God, did you
years
just like die on the spot?
I will never forget. I'm at the kitchen table with the like abstinence form and this kissing conversation. I'm cringing. This movie.
I'm dying for you. Ew.
Like, isn't this supposed to be like a normal like the normal thing would be, the way we grew up would have been, just don't talk about it.
Yeah, like, oh my God.
Let's just assume. I'm turning red. I'm flushing. I'm embarrassed for myself.
It's awful. Okay, let's shift embarrassment. The belly. Let's talk about the belly.
Well, yeah, she could have the embarrassment. And then who knocked your sister up?
Who knocked up your sister? Oh my God, so funny. Okay, jumping back. So the dad says that like Bianca can date when Kat can date, and he's assuming that like Kat's never gonna date, and then that's the whole plot. That sets it up, right? Like,
but so then like Bianca says something along the lines of like, "Oh, this isn't fair just because she's a loser." I don't like the conversation that just because if you're not dating makes you a loser. You already know, like, I'm not in a relationship right now, but that doesn't mean I'm a loser.
Well, and also, what does Bianca say? She's like, I'm the only girl in my grade not dating. It's like, you're like 16. Like,
I'm 16 years old, Daddy. I'm not a child.
That's how you know we're adults. It's like, oh my God, yes, you are.
Well, how about, and then there's the conversation of, there's a couple years age difference. And again, with the pitting against the sisters, you find out that Kat loses her virginity to Joey when they're in the 9th grade. How old? I think I was either 12 or 13 when I was 14. In the 9th grade.
14.
So
14, like 15.
Yeah. Then I was 13 in the 9th grade. So her sister is younger than her. She's in 2 grades younger than her. Why? And she goes, why didn't you tell me? If you're, why would I be telling my 10, 11-year-old sister? Yeah. Why, but also a little bit shame on Kat to say, I wanted you to formulate your own opinion. Because if that happened, you bet your ass I'm telling my sister, like when she gets to high school.
Yeah, like when she's age appropriate. Yeah.
Right.
No, totally. Let's see. I'm looking and, a little trigger warning, content warning. There's a hard R word in this. Yeah. Capital R here.
It said once, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just once, but like, boy, is it there.
Yeah.
And boy, did I go, ooh.
Yeah.
Not good.
And
not
just like how casual it was.
Yeah.
Not just in this movie, but in Hollywood and regular conversations in general.
Yeah. Really kind of up until this point, too. Like, I think there's a few up in the early 2000s, but like, really? Yeah, I think they really phased it out. I don't like Bianca using Cameron. I don't, no. I really just like, Bianca's character doesn't do it for me. I'm a cat girl through and through. I don't like that she uses Cameron. I also don't like that Cameron is just like throwing his life at this girl, like.
There is also like, they feel like there's 2 sides to it though, because not that I'm defending Cameron, but he feel like, and I'm not that I'm defending Kat, or Bianca. I don't like that he feels like he's entitled to her because he did all this stuff also.
Yeah, that it's not a good look. It's not a good look, but it's also very kind of interesting that he's playing, Joseph is playing this character because it's very similar to his character in 50 Days of Summer. It's the same kind of like, so like you see the like villain kind of aspect in that. So then if you took that and like took it to 50 Days of Summer, you'd be like, oh, okay. Heath Ledger. Heath. This movie does a really fantastic job of doing like close-ups on his face so you can see all his beautiful freckles. You can see his beautiful hair and eyes and his smile and his teeth and just like how perfect he was. He every time I see a movie with him, I'm just like, we were robbed, okay. So this is his first like American movie. The car was his car, like Kat's car was his car. How cool is that? He was so great. Like everybody loved him on this movie. He came in like after and people were worried about how he would like fit in, but the cast was very close and we just adore him. He improvised the like flame touching that
in the science class.
I mean, it's just so good. I just love him so much. He's not like a bad guy, right? Like he's not even morally gray. Like you just don't know who he is till you get to learn who he is. Yeah, and then it's like shitty because he takes the money, right? Like he takes the money, and that's shitty. But I feel like it's less shitty than when like Freddie Prinze Jr. did it and she's all that. I feel like that situation's like 10 times more shitty than this situation, and I don't know why I feel like that. Is that weird?
No, because, I will say I didn't realize it till this rewatch. So there's the exchange of money and, he was like, upping the money. I feel like obviously the miscommunication trope is there. Like the thing that we love. If you just communicated this, everything would have been okay. Like, look, here's the thing. That way Kat could still be upset with Joey because she already was. Then what? Bianca was going to be mad at her sister like she always is. So, like, there really wouldn't have been any loss there if he was honest to, like, say, look, here's the thing. He's willing to give me money. I'm communicating this with you. We just got $300 richer.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that could have been so different. However, during this rewatch, right after he accepts the money, he realizes kind of like he fucked up, I think. And he gives the band leader money. So I visually seeing that exchange, I thought he's paying the band leader the money he just got to in turn put it towards Kat for this huge big OG promposal gesture. And then later at the end of the movie, you find out that he still put it towards Kat, but got the guitar. But I just think that again is, obviously we wouldn't have had the story. That would have also been an interesting turn of the story if that was the way it went. They concocted a plan together and put it against Joey. I mean, that's just, but then you wouldn't have had the story that we had of, we needed it. We needed the miscommunication there. But that's all.
Let's talk about Patrick negotiating for more money because of movie prices. He's like, popcorn is like $15. We go to the movie, we do something else. It's like 52. It's like,
the
yo.
joke 75.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, going to the movies in New York, that's pretty... Look, life hack, if y'all haven't learned already, if you get the kids' meal, you get a refillable drink, popcorn, and a little snacky candy for $7. So that's kind of been my go-to.
It is. It's genius. It's genius. Let me see. I'm looking at my notes. Oh, Heath is so awkward. He's like, hey there, girly. When he like introduces himself, I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Just to mush into her life. It was just it was not organic. He came out of nowhere. But you know what worked? And I hate admitting this because there is no secret. I am very much a cat in my real life. I am closed off unless you get to know me. But he realized that wasn't working. And then he went to the bar and it would have worked. It would have worked on me. I hate that I am admitting it because if he approached me like he initially did to her, wouldn't have worked. I'd be like, what the fuck is up with you? And he's like, I'm not here for you. And then I would have been intrigued. It wouldn't have been the dismissal, but it would have been the intrigue. Like, you've been trying so hard. Now you're not. It would have been the intrigue.
I like how you're justifying it. Like, we all wouldn't fall at the feet of Heath Ledger. So something that really stuck out to me was like when Kat rams her car into Joey's car, my first thought was like, he's going to sue the shit out of you. Like, he is such an ass. Like, he's going to tell his family and they're going to get you. But on the other hand, like, his ego would not let that happen.
Well, his ego is still so hung up on the fact that he knows he has a tiny dick.
Yeah. So it's like...
So because she even said, later I said if it ever got out, then I would tell, like, of course, like, the cheerleaders, the popular girls at the school, that how tiny his dick is. If he honestly was confident, he could have been like, go ahead. But clearly that's not the case, and men and their egos. But I feel like she hung that over his head literally all through high school. Literally and metaphorically, all through high school. And like you said, it was a whole ego thing.
I do think it's funny. I do like that. I like the dad. He's just lovable, but he's like, my insurance doesn't cover PMS, which is absolutely something that would have been said in my family. Like, absolutely. Like, it's just hilarious. And so another like little line that I really like is when, Michael and Cameron are talking to Patrick in the wood shop, and he's like, they're talking about Bianca, and he's like, my man Cameron, like, he really wants Bianca. He's the true one. He's like, what is she got, like, beer flavored nipples? Like, what is it? And Cameron's like, don't talk about her like that. It's so cute.
He's so protective over a girl that's not even his, and that is kind of admirable.
One of my favorite shots in this movie is the very classic cliche, just like every movie has it, but the flyer drop in the stairwell of this school, like, oh my God. I'm such a sucker for it. It's such a good shot.
Yeah. I remember I was watching it and I was just smiling the whole time. I'm never sick of, maybe it's just like how we grew up or what we were exposed to during our formative years. I just don't feel, and I know this is going to date us, they don't make them like they used to. You don't see teen. It was such a specific genre, I think is what it is. And you really don't see teen classics the way they used to be. Same thing with romantic comedies. I feel like the only place that's really getting it right now is Netflix, because they like lean, like, instead of trying to go against the grain, they're just leaning into it,
It ain't broke, don't fix it. Okay, so we have the very classic, very formative
party scene. Oh, not that scene.
No. I was gonna say, if you have black underwear, it means you want to have sex scene, which, like, I'm sure everybody took notes on, and like everyone was like, oh, because I know everybody that I knew that watched this movie did. It's just like one of those funny things.
You can't have black now without
without the thought in your head. You absolutely can't. And one of my like favorite lines here is when Cameron like learns that, he's like, "Oh, can I see your room?" And they're raiding Kat's room, right? And Bianca's like, "No, like a girl's room is private." As she's like raiding her sister's room, I was just like, "Oh my God, you're such a little sister." It's so fantastic. Club Skunk is one of my favorite scenes because we have Heath in his shiny pants, and those shiny pants are just so funny. But I am so confused by this scene. I just do not know what is going on here.
I don't know. I truly don't know. Is Club Skunk, was it like a all ages night? Are they 18 because they're seniors in high school? Is it girls, like ladies' night? Because it's the whole crowd is females, with the exception of the bartender, one person at the bar, and Heath, Patrick.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. I don't know what kind. Like, not that it makes a difference. There was a band that night, but I don't know. Did she have a fake? Because Patrick did, because he was at a different, like a biker bar drinking beer.
I don't know. So my assumption here is that they all have fakes, and that it's a like lesbian bar, and but my question here is, Patrick's like, I can't go to Club Skunk, which if it's a lesbian bar, it's like, okay, all right, fine,
right.
It's like, I can't be seen there. But then he goes there, and he like knows the bartender, and he like does the handshake. He's like, hey, what's up? It's like, what is this? So I don't know. That's just like one of those questions that were never answered for me. I don't, it's one of those things.
That's where he invites her to the party.
Yes, that's when he invites her to the party, but I'm looking and my notes says should have used the window, and I was like, what is that? But that's the dad when he catches
when
the
she's
girl
like trying to
out.
just quietly go down the stairs.
Yeah.
And he's
like,
just
Daddy,
like,
it's just a party. And he's like, and hell is just a sauna.
it's like, just some friends. You mean an orgy? And then we get the belly. Like, it's so funny. I just love it so much. The thing that bothers me about, there's something that bothers me at the party though. And it's Bianca is begging Kat to go to the party, right? She's begging. She's like, come on, Kat, please, right? And I don't think that they've had the fight about the pearls at this point, or maybe they have. No, they have. They did it before, right? Okay. I feel like I know where you're going with this, but continue.
I don't understand why Bianca was so mean
to
Kat at the party.
Right.
Like, she just, like, agreed to like, go out with you. And then now you're in public. You're like, don't talk to me in public. I can't be around. Like,
you're in public because I allowed you to be, essentially. So mad.
Like, during this rewatch, like, as, like, an adult, like, and of course, as I said, I've seen this a million times, but, like, that really stuck out to me, and it never has before. I was just like, you are being so awful to her, and she, like, went out, like, on the line for you, like,
and continuously throughout the whole film, every time she wants something, Bianca wants something, she obviously needs Kat to get this, like, for her permission from her father. She begs and begs and begs. Kat's a good big sister, despite everything, and goes to the party, goes on a date with another goes out with Patrick, and so that ends up with Bianca going out with Cameron. She keeps doing these things, and Bianca keeps treating her like shit. She's just being a bitch.
Yeah, she's being awful, and like I don't know. You could say like 16, but I don't know. I was very, very upset with that. But if we go a little more, we have Kat's iconic dance.
Did you know that scene is why she got offered the role in Save the Last Dance?
No, and I can't.
I don't know why.
I don't see the vision there.
I don't know.
I don't know why someone was like, yes, this. But
also, like, I'm kind of even with the table dancing scene, Heath is a gentleman. A gentleman takes care of her. I do have a logistics question. She's dancing on the table, the chandelier, full height. She's not hunched. She initially, if you see the beginning of the scene, she is standing full height, chandelier is down. She has a gap between.
Is it a continuity issue?
Yes!
Oh no!
There's a gap between her head and the chandelier, and she's fully up dancing. This is before she's hunched over. Then she does, she keeps dancing on the table. Then there's a point where she flips her hair back, and her head hits the chandelier. But it's a continuity thing because there was a huge gap, and now what happened? Did the chandelier drop in the middle of your dance? I don't know, but it's an issue that I've been having during my rewatches. And if there's like a scene that's playing, I just always think of that. Like, technically, as somebody who used to enjoy thoroughly dancing on tables and bars, I have a question. Logical.
We can't talk about the party without talking about Nigel with the Brie. So Nigel with the Brie, if you watch this very closely, like right as like everybody starts like coming out of the bushes to like with the party, you can see Nigel like panicking with all these people like outside of the door. And then of course, like when he's like, that must be Nigel with the Brie, and he opens the door, it is Nigel. He's running and he's first. That is just like one of those funny little like in jokes. It is just really funny.
I love the scene where everybody's just encroaching on the house. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what high school parties were like for you. I mean, there was no encroaching, but the inside of that party was very much like parties in high school. Right?
Oh yeah, no. I have to say, of like all the things that were like maybe not like my high school, but like the party was definitely like high school. You know what wasn't though is the band, live band at dances. Nobody has that.
Was that because? Do you think it was a like when we were in high school? It was playlists and iPods and mixed CDs that didn't exist in '99. So maybe bands were a thing. Like the kids in high school who had their own band.
I don't know. DJs, man. I don't know.
But then no, because then you can argue Usher and She's All That was the DJ.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
But they had a dance number. So, I mean, if you're going to go with like very like highly illogical things.
but when there's the party at the friend's house.
Yeah.
Usher is DJing the party.
Can't Hardly Wait there was a local, like, their band. Okay, we're getting distracted. We digress. Heath Ledger has an absolutely fantastic quote in this. He has, Cameron, never let anyone make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. Like,
King.
shout it louder.
King.
Yeah. Yeah. Put it on a banner, fly it from the rooftops. Like, Heath, come on, Patrick, just like, how great is that too? Like, if you sit and like really think about it, you're like, yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you that your standards are too high.
Yeah.
That's, take that away from it.
Ugh. My other confession is that I absolutely love Heath Ledger's like car, not his like real car that we learned about, but his like movie car. It's like an old like lime green like Bronco type situation. I love it. Like, I would drive that now, right now. I'm looking at my quotes and they're getting a little.
Are they getting messy? I will say that, well, since we talked about the Heath quote about don't let anybody make you feel like you don't deserve what you want. Like a couple frames after that, you have the, he's taking care of Kat. She's on the swings to make sure she doesn't get a concussion. Let me just say, she throws up on him. I think if anybody's ever thrown up on like a future significant other and they still love you, like they're like, this is the most beautiful human being in my entire life. If they wanted to, they would. And that's all I'm saying, because I definitely have done that, followed by the first time I've said I love you and was with the person for a very long time. So, I mean, if they wanted to, they would.
So the praise here is that Patrick does not kiss Kat in the car when she initiates it. He pulls away. And Jess, you and I were talking about this like before, and it's such a good like storytelling device because like you are though like, yes, like kiss, like please, like we want them together. But then when he pulls away and you kind of like step back from the situation and you're just like, oh, he's making the right choice here. But you feel so embarrassed for her.
It's, in a way, this is Queen of Shadows spoiler. It's like when Aylin's coming on to Rowan and he pulls away. And she's just like devastated. Like here she put herself out there thinking he's interested, and then he pushes her away. And it's just like, it's a very vulnerable moment. She put herself out there. It wasn't reciprocated in that moment. And, you're just, I don't want to say like you're butthurt, because that's not what it is. There is there is a little bit, you're vulnerable and you didn't get the reaction that you were hoping. And that's what Kat is going through. And that's why she's so hurt and she's so frustrated. And I think when you were saying, like, one of the articles that we'll have in the show notes, it said, in real life, you shouldn't be praised. Like, that's bare minimum. Yes, that should have happened. But to have this visually shown, especially in a 90s teen comedy and a 90s in general movie, it's praised because you don't see that dialogue happen often.
You really, really, really don't. Something that you do see and hear happen often is Smash Mouth, which is like in this soundtrack.
The soundtrack is so 90s.
So good. It's so good.
I don't mean it in a bad way.
Gosh.
It's so good.
It's so funny. Of course we have the sonnet that she has to write, but we have skipped over, I believe, their paintball date. Yes? Or the flashing? No, that's after.
No, because the paintball's after the flashing.
That's after. So they have to write a sonnet, okay? And then we have a really fantastic scene, an archery scene at gym class, right? Where Joey comes to talk to Bianca, and Bianca shoots the teacher in the butt, right?
Now I don't feel bad. Did you see the video I sent you before?
I did, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, okay, if you rewatch the scene, and maybe it was just with like how I saw it, the teacher is being like feeling up on the student. He's just a little too close for comfort. That is, some people have that is not a trope that I'm here for at all. He's just a little too close for comfort. And then you have the arrow that Bianca shoots by accident, and it gets that teacher in the butt. And I'm okay with it. At first, I think it was supposed to be like, oh my gosh, she's such an airhead. But now I go, no, she just saved that student. That's me watching it as an adult.
But also, it's a sight gag because he goes to sit down in detention later, and he can't. He like sits back up. It is.
He's like one
funny.
of those. I mean, it's a public school because he's the soccer coach, he's the PE coach, he's the detention. Like he's just doing all the things.
All the things. So Patrick and Kat are like in this like fight kind of.
Yeah, they're on the outs right now
they're
because
on the outs.
she went to kiss him and he said no.
They're on the outs. So Joey gives Patrick $200 for limos, tux, flowers, everything. But Patrick
also,
says, like,
what a cheap prom.
What a cheap prom, for real. But Patrick says, like, no, he wants out. Like, he doesn't want to do this anymore. And then he gives him $300. And it's like, oh, okay, then he'll do it. And then we get the like kind of montage where he sees her at the music store and then he sees her at the bookstore. And my notes here are platform sandals and her hair. So
her hair's perfect throughout. And it's her hair. Like there's no way that's a wig.
No, that has to be her hair. And nobody, and like that was never in any of the like lists and stuff that we looked at. So that has to be her hair. So good. And then we get the scene. I would die. I would melt in a puddle. And I would die. So in the research for this, we learned that Heath was really singing and he had to make his voice like kind of gravelly because it came out too good. Stop. Like he can sing. Like stop.
This man has it all.
Heath. I read something very interesting that said that Heath was the like third or fourth character to sing this song in a movie and then go on to become a villain in a Batman movie.
Right.
Yeah, not like the Joker, but just like a villain, like in general, which I thought was very interesting. It's just like this song turns people into Batman villains.
And that this song was suggested by Julia Stiles. It was originally going to be, I can't remember, but something, we'll have it in the show notes. But one of the songs from the Partridge Family. However, not all like that song had been used 2 years prior in Scream or like another 90s cult classic movie. So this just wound up being a better fit.
And it's so good. And he does the like dancing part and he's smiling and then close up on his smile and she's like laughing and it's so perfect. And he's like fighting with the security guards and it's just wonderful. And I would die. Okay. The controversy here. He gets detention for this lovely song and Kat goes to break him out of detention. And what does she do?
She flashes the teacher. And it's awkward for everybody involved. How is that your first thought?
Yeah, that would never
that
ever
is
cross
not
my
the
mind.
First, no,
that's not an option. That is not and also like we had to wear uniforms, so it would have been like more like a Superman kind of situation going on. I would never. So like that is the controversy there. Like she should have done something else, and that's weird. And like the teacher's like weird, and it's all weird.
The whole conversation is weird when she goes, "Oh, you're taking steroids," and starts feeling him up in front of
in
front of a classroom. Because could you imagine if that would like? Could you imagine you have all these witnesses essentially to be like, she came on to him. We don't want that for Kat. She just got into Sarah Lawrence.
Did you see that Sarah Lawrence is Larissa's like alma mater?
Mm-hmm. Did you know that in the German version of this movie, they don't say Sarah Lawrence, they say Harvard?
Oh, that makes sense.
And you know, when they're snooping through her stuff and they talk about the picture of Jared Leto, in Germany, it's Johnny Depp.
Oh, sure, because nobody over there would know who Jared is at this time. Yeah, like they weren't watching My So-Called Life or into 30 Seconds to Mars at this time. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. So we have the date here. We have the paddleboarding and we have the paintballing.
Also, I'm very I love that they did that, but at the same time, I'm confused to be like, she finds out I guess it was just like another grand gesture, right? Like he did this grand gesture for her. So she's reciprocating the grand gesture of getting him out of detention. Because the date could have, me logically, I'm like, okay, well, we'll just reschedule a date. Yeah, we'll do it another day.
I think it was like the gesture of it all. It's such a cute date. And
the paint, because it's not paint balls. They're just like, it's like paint balloons. I don't want the welts that come with paintballing. Nobody who I have a really good aim. Nobody I'm going against will want me to play paintball with you. But I like the idea of water balloons filled with paint. I think it's really fun and cute, and I wish it really existed.
Yeah, and they like put it over their heads and stuff, and like you can't do that with real paintballs because they're hard as hell. But it was just so fun. But my next like line here is gaslighting, lying, smoking, therapy. Because after this wonderful date, they go and they sit down at her house, and then he starts pushing prom. And rightly so. She's like,
she picked up on it right away because their whole date, it hadn't been like that the entire time.
Yeah. And she's like, why are you like this? Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
And then he starts gaslighting her, and he starts lying, and he pulls out a cigarette to smoke, and all of this stuff. And that's the moment you're just like,
again, missed opportunity. Missed opportunity.
Just like, come on. But then we get, the dad uttering his really fantastic line about those river kids, those Dawson's River kids, which is just so funny. Like, I was just dying.
And I guess Dawson's Creek came out in 96, I want to say, or 97. I don't know. I mean, I didn't look it up for this. But the timing, it was just so timely that the movie came out in 99. So you knew production had to start at least a year ago, which means the writing had to happen in 97. So like chronologically, it made sense.
98. First episode, January 98 of
so
Dawson's Creek.
Writing, I mean, unless they just, editing and all that.
Oh, it's so good. I love the dad. Okay. So then we get the sister, as you alluded to earlier, the sister talk about the reveal, right?
And she's still, like, this is another thing about Bianca. I'm pissed. She's still pissed. She's still being just a nasty little sister towards Kat. Even after she opened and was honest about what happened and what transpired to her personally.
I do want to take a step back and just mention real fast that Kat is wearing tiny, like a seed pearl necklace during their date, which I think is really funny because they had the fight about the mom's pearls. But like,
I feel like she went into Bianca's room and just took them back because she wore them at the prom too.
Yeah, this is a different set of pearls.
Oh,
so I feel like she was trying to like, like, okay, well, I'll wear pearls too, and then. This is like what happened in my head, like behind the scenes. And then Bianca was like, oh, I see. And then she let her wear
because they had that, like they finally,
with the fight.
Like,
and then with prom. That's what happens in my head behind the scenes. Of course, we don't have any of that. But so we get the reveal that Joey and Kat, had sex. Then it was awful. And she held it over his head. But yeah, I have right here. Going after the virgin is so gross. Bianca is getting so mad and they have a sister fight. Bianca, you were a child. So yeah. So everything that like Jess, you said earlier, there's
no point in this relationship between Kat and Bianca that they were close to begin with. So even if Kat would have shared that information, maybe to what you said with the father continuously, assumingly pitting them against each other in that sort of way. And again, like this is the father clearly needing his own therapy and how he parents, that they might not have been like close growing up in general. And then, there's the age gap and you would think, okay, now we're in high school. They might either get closer.
Or not.
Yeah. And that's clearly what happened. So the assumption that Bianca was entitled to this information that Kat should have shared with her. When were they ever close for Kat to want to share this information also?
Yeah. And also like weird, right? Like,
like I said, you wouldn't have shared, like I wouldn't have shared this if I was in high school and my sister was 11. No.
Ugh. Okay, so we've made it to prom. And they're all so happy, right? She's like, I had a dress, like I just had a tux, like we all just, they're just happy.
In fairness, don't you have stuff in your closet where you're like, I just had this laying around?
Yeah, but not when I was in high school.
Okay, true.
Now I do.
Now.
Well, no,
Yeah.
not physically. They're in the crates, but like,
you do,
as
yeah.
an adult, yeah. Like now I could be like, yeah, I could go to like prom, whatever. I have a dress, but like not when I was like 18. But we have the reveal. So we have Joey, Cameron, Kat, Heath, and Bianca, and everything is out in the open. Everybody's like yelling at each other. And something that I don't like here that kind of was off-putting was Kat is screaming at Patrick, right? She's like, I can't believe you did this. Like, was it just the money? Da, da, da. And he like grabs her and like kisses her. And I was just like, this is not appropriate. This is not the reaction. I would have hit him personally. I would have hit him.
Because he did. I physically pushed. I was
It
like, no.
was just like, no. Oh my God.
And in true teen rom-com fashion for these movies, she reacted the exact way anybody would have reacted. It's just like when Lainey did and She's All That. She's like, is this true? Am I a bet? Am I a fucking bet?
Yeah.
And he's just like, yes.
The F-bomb heard throughout my childhood. Like that was like an echoing F-bomb that like, yeah, reverberated throughout my childhood and She's All That. Yeah. So the instance where I really like Bianca is when she fucking punches Joey straight in the nose. It's like, that is for my sister and that's for me. It's just like, yes, you tell him. And he's like, damn it, Bianca, I have to shoot a nose spray ad tomorrow. It's just like, oh my God.
Priorities, Joey.
Joey. Oh my God. But then we have Chastity like in the bathroom saying Joey was just gonna nail you tonight. Like that's all this was. Like he had
also, what kind of friend can you call yourself if you know this information and then you still went to the prom with him?
Yeah. I do like though how Joey showed up at Bianca's house and the dad was just like deadpan and just like slammed the door in his face. That was great.
He's like, I can't
like
deal with this.
enough.
Well, he already hated Joey because he was like, I already know about this Joey kid. And he's like, okay.
So then obviously prom is over. Prom is ruined. Something that I find slightly unrealistic, and of course we're at the tail end of the movie here, is like the next, like mid-morning?
Yes. She goes, thanks for last night.
Yeah, they're all up and like going sailing?
Well, okay.
What?
Not realistic. I didn't go to my prom, but basically like the people that I know did. Well, obviously I know people in high school. I just didn't get asked, so I didn't go. But the group of friends that I have, they went to a house. They stayed up late. There were beverages. I will not disclose what kind, but everybody had a very late start to their morning. But these two, I feel like the fact that they came home right after, there was no drinking, there was no party bus, there was no limo. I did chronologically think like, oh, how far is this? But then when she said last night, it threw me off. Yeah. But realistically, I'm like, they're just going back home.
And they had a bad time. They went home. Yeah.
They went home early. Prom usually goes till probably about 12. So I'm assuming they got there at like 7. Shit went down. Left at 9. Home by 10.
Yeah. 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 The conversation that Kat and her dad have are just, it's so sweet. You cried. Yeah. Ugh. It was so sweet.
I just don't do well with like father-daughter scenes.
Oh yeah, no, but like, and he's but he's like, I already sent the check to Sarah Lawrence. Like, you're so strong, and I wish, she was more like you, and all this
like
stuff.
When he says that he was impressed, when she's like, oh, you missed. She's like, oh, are you upset that she's becoming like me? I'm rubbing off on her. He's like, I'm impressed.
It's like all the things that you want to hear as like the oldest, like only daughter, like, the responsible, like all the things you ever want to hear. Just like, okay, thank you.
It's that validation feels like the validation that you didn't think you were looking for is there. And it makes such a difference.
And then we get the sonnet, which is not actually Like, it
Right.
technically
Yeah,
is
when
sonnet.
even when she's like, do you want that in iambic pentameter? And even the teacher was like, fuck off. Like, just
Yeah.
leave me alone. Now you're pissing me off. Like,
So there's a little controversy about the sonnet. Like, is it good? Do we like it? Because people are torn. People are like, it is so awkward that I can't even deal with it. And other people are like, no, she's having like a moment, you know? And like, I go either way depending on when I watch it though, because he's just sitting there like this. He's just staring at her this whole time.
probably because he knows he has the guitar in her fucking car already. And
he's probably like, slam dunk.
just you away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Funny. But yeah, so how do you feel about it?
It's cringe. Here's the thing. Do I love the scene? I love the vulnerability that she's sharing with him. It's cringe when then you pan out and it's the whole classroom and you're like, oh, that's right, you're in a classroom.
This is for a grade.
Yeah, I could never. One thing I do like that a lot of schools seem to do now is they don't make you stand at the front of the class. Like if you do have to read aloud or something, you can do in your seat, you can sit down. Like I do appreciate that. I think that there's, they're acknowledging that this might not be the best place to put people literally in the spotlight in front of their peers, and they don't necessarily know how your peers are treating you. So I do appreciate that now. Very awkward in this scene. In this moment, I liked it. A lot of things that I liked, it just reminds me, there were parts that were it reminded me of Nesta and Cassian. The banter. I mean, obviously this is way ahead of but whenever you're on like Book Talk or Bookstagram and people are using reels and then you kind of reuse pop culture and media, this is one of those scenes, just them in general in this movie is very much Nessian, and I love Cass, so that works for me.
And I'm looking and it says, so do we think then that gift giving is Patrick's love language? Or like big gestures? Like big gestures.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, see, I think you and I had a separate conversation about different acts, like love language, different acts of love language. And I feel like big gestures and gift giving, yes. But you could also argue, like you said, grand gestures and acts of service, like that kind of is encompassed here too.
Yeah. I'm looking, and so this end scene, they're at the car, they're making out. It's fantastic. We love it. He gives her the guitar. They pan out here, and if you look, she parked in staff parking, which is just like one of my favorite little like.
But, even if it was just a flub in the production, like, oh, we forgot to,
it
we
fits
shouldn't
with
have
her
had
character.
That. It fits with her character.
It's just,
so
yeah.
I don't, if it was like one of those flukes, I don't mind it because it feels very intentional.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. And then, we pan out and there are bloopers that you can watch online. And the other band, the band that Patrick calls in a favor for that plays at the prom is Letters to Cleo, but the first band was Say Ferris, and love that. I love this movie. Like I was reading all those articles, and all those articles say like, yes, this is the best adaptation of The Taming of the Shrew because it is very difficult because it's like essentially like Stockholm syndrome, and he like tortures her, but like this is a good take on it. But also, it's just one of the best like 90s like teen movies, because there are a lot that came out in the 90s, and this one came out in 99. It's at the tail end, but it is one of the best.
Right. And, there was, again, we'll have the link in the show notes. There was an article in Refinery 29, and they did an interview with the writers. And one of the questions that Refinery asked was, why do you think the film is still so relatable for teens of this generation? And one of the writers said, it's about the core things that never, and this interview happened for the 20th anniversary back in 2019. And one of the writers said, it's about the core things that never change as a teenager: finding love, finding yourself, and then just breaking out from the pack. And the other writer also mentioned like Kat being a feminist character and a rebel and a light activist in her spirit really speaks to current current teenagers, current teen culture, just current culture in general. And how can you deny that? Because we are still in a state of just being aware and saying like, no, fuck this. I don't agree with how things are going. We need to change the narrative. We don't have to be complacent if we don't agree with how things are going.
And Jess, there was also another quote from that article that you sent me.
Oh, so the writers, they also wrote Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde, and they're in the process of working on Legally Blonde 3. They also wrote She's the Man, Ella Enchanted,
House Bunny,
and I think The Ugly Truth, but The Ugly Truth really has not aged well. I rewatched it maybe a year and a half ago or something. But this is not okay. How did this pass? But Hollywood. I digress. So the question was, after 10 Things I Hate About You, you wrote Legally Blonde. Both Elle from Legally Blonde and Kat from 10 Things are considered feminist characters, even though they're both widely different. And both the writers, one of the writers said, Karen and I are very different, and we're both very strong and independent feminists. We wouldn't match as twins on paper, but we have that common thread. Aspirations, strong points of view, passion for life. That's the common core that we share as humans, and it could come out in different shapes on screen. The other writer followed up with saying you can be a feminist in different packages. You don't need combat boots and a protest line. You can have the pink dress on and getting your nails done. It's what's on the outside. However, on the inside, it's your brain and your heart that can be very similar.
Oh, it's so good.
I love it. I love the writers. I would love to work with them someday. I think they're amazing.
I mean, and just how fantastic too. It's like you can, you don't have to fit a mold. Like you can be your own person, and you can have all these thoughts and feelings and be strong and yay, feminism. But that comes in all shapes and forms, and it's
which is
so
what
important.
we love about the books that we read, the movies that we watch, the people that we know and we engage in. It doesn't have to be cookie cutter, and I like that's an important conversation to have.
It's one of the most important conversations to have, I would think. But oh my gosh, it's wonderful. I love this movie so much. I don't feel like I have anything else to say, which is weird.
I could rewatch it. That's the thing. When you're done, the second you're done, you're not okay, I need a pause. I won't watch that for you're ready to rewatch it. You're that was fun. Let's do it again. I was listening to Letters to Cleo, Cruel to Be Kind, iconic song. This is perfect. Right before we started taping, you get it stuck in your head, and it's the perfect combination of pop, punk, ska, all those 90s influences all at once.
It's just so wonderful. And I'm really happy that 90s and early 2000s fashion is swung back around. I have repurchased my flares, and I will not get rid of them again. They will be with me forever now, because in another 20 years, when I'm old and decrepit, I'll be fitting into them again. I swear to God.
My hot pink flares are coming tomorrow. I'm so excited. And then I got my red corduroys that are coming. These are things that I was mad I was forced to get rid of. And I'm rebuy.
Must rebuy. So, oh my gosh. I am interested, if anybody is listening, what is your favorite 90s teen movie? Because I know there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, and I'm wondering if there's some that I haven't heard of and haven't watched. So if you think you've got a really good one, let us know.
Yeah, let us know, because I feel I rewatch the same ones after a certain point, and you've gotten me to, through the podcast and just sitting me down and saying focus. I would have never watched Empire Records. I know The Craft I had watched, but it had been some time. There's a lot of ones that I like that we get to explore. And like you had said during our Moulin Rouge episode, rewatch as an adult, see if they still hold up, or what are your learnings if they don't, and are they still just as wonderful? And this one definitely is.
Oh, it definitely is. Ugh. And, of course, yes, Jess did watch Empire Records when she was here to visit me, and it is amazing and fantastic and a wonderful 90s movie too. But please let us know, what your favorite 90s teen movies are.
So feel free to follow us on Instagram, ACOFAE Podcast. We're also both on TikTok, ACOFAE Laura and ACOFAE Jessica. And that's all we got. We appreciate everyone listening. Thanks for your time. Feel free to leave a review, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.